Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to review the Soundpeats H1 True Wireless Earbuds. I got the buds from the manufacturer, but I'm not getting paid for this review, so all you will hear in the next couple of minutes is my honest and unbiased opinion, which is based on my own experience with the buds. Now we can get started. The design of the H1 reminds me of the Soundpeats True Engine 3 SE. The two buds do not only look very similar on the outside, but they also share a dual driver design, even though the speakers inside are quite different, but more about that in a minute. Back to the design of the H1 for a second. The buds are medium-sized and weigh in at around 6.3 grams each. They sit quite deep in my ear canals, providing me with an exceptionally good passive noise isolation, which can somewhat compensate for the lack of active noise cancellation. The two-tone finish looks great, and the soft rubbery coating gives you a good grip, which not only makes taking the buds out of the case easier, but it also contributes to the fit of the H1, which is tight enough in my ears for some basic physical activity, so I can easily see myself using them in the gym. The IPX5 rating and the robust build quality are reassuring in that regard too. The long-term comfort in my case, however, is not perfect thanks to the transparent plastic cover of the drivers. It looks cool and all, but that little bump is made of hard plastic, and since the buds go deep inside my ears, I can feel some pressure right at the outer edge of my ear canals, exactly where that bump pushes against my ear. But that's just me and my ears, you might find them perfect in your ears. Helping with the fit and comfort, you get not only 3 pairs of silicone ear tips, but there is also a pair of compliant memory foam tips in the box, which can make the fit a bit more snug, and it can also improve the passive noise isolation even further, so I would definitely recommend giving them a go. The case looks pretty much the same as that of the True Engine 3 SE, apart from the different color of the lid. However, some rather significant changes were made on the inside. One is the improved battery life, and 2 is the compatibility with the Qi wireless charging standard. So we get 40 hours of playtime in total with the H1, and the earbuds themselves can last up to 10 hours on a single charge. You can check the battery status of the buds using the LEDs under the lid, and you can also charge the case using not only the USB-C port on the back, but on any Qi compatible wireless charging pad as well. All in all, the battery department delivers a great performance. And the connection is not something you will complain about either, thanks to the Qualcomm QCC3040 chipset inside. We get Bluetooth version 5.2 with a decent range and rock-solid signals. You can find not only SBC and AAC on board, but we also have aptX Adaptive, which is a more advanced version of the regular aptX codec. The aptX Adaptive codec can automatically adjust the bitrate and the latency according to what's required in order to maintain the best possible connection between the buds and the source device. And it works like a charm. I have not noticed any lip sync issues with movies and videos, and the dedicated gaming mode provides you with a lag-free gaming experience on mobile phones too. The true wireless mirroring technology gives you single bud mode with smooth switching between the buds, so there is that too. The only thing missing is the support for multi-point use, but that's somewhat expected in this category.
The dual mic setup does a decent job with voice transmission during phone calls. The CVC 8.0 technology is supposed to improve the clarity of your voice by filtering out unwanted noises, but if I turn on some noise on the speakers in front of me, you can hear that not much of the ambient chatter is blocked out at all, but at least the clarity of my voice remains mostly unchanged, and it does not get muddied or overpowered by the background noise. And this was the mic quality test of the Soundpeats H1.
Onto the controls, we get a touch-sensitive interface on each bud with full functionality including play, pause, next track, previous track, volume up and down, voice assistant, gaming mode, and of course you can manage your phone calls from the buds too. But there is no companion app, so remapping these functions is not an option. But the touch controls work perfectly fine regardless, with high accuracy and quick enough reaction times. There are no in-ear sensors on the H1, meaning that the buds will not pause playback automatically when removed from your ears, and even though in-ear sensors and app support are not really a must in the under $100 price range yet, it would have been nice of Soundpeats to deliver on those fronts too. Not having an app means no EQ settings, and since we don't have active noise cancellation either, I have to say that the H1 buds are a bit short on features compared to some of their rivals, such as the Soundcore Life P3, which have both ANC and app support, or the Earfun Air Pro, which also have ANC. But what neither of those earbuds have is the dual hybrid driver design of the H1. So unlike the traditional single driver setup of both the Soundcore and the Earfun, or the dual dynamic driver setup of the True Engine 3 SE, we get a more advanced hybrid design with the H1, which consists of an 8.6mm dynamic driver and a nose-balanced armature driver, the former of which covers the lower frequencies, while the latter is responsible for the higher octaves. And this two-way design results in a very powerful sound with great separation between the different elements of the music. But the sound signature of the H1 is not neutral, as it leans a bit toward a dark and bass-heavy sound, especially with the supplied foam tips. You can kind of use the silicone ear tips to fine-tune the bass response, as I found that even the tiniest little movement in my ears could change the bass levels. Using the foam tips gives you a more secure fit with no room for such movement, so the sound quality is more consistent across all use cases. So you get quite a punch in the lower registers, but regardless of which tips you use, the mid-range sounds a bit recessed, partly due to the auditory masking caused by that strong bass. Some sweetness and detail in the mids could improve the sound big time, or at least it would bring it a touch closer to my own musical taste. The highs are smooth and detailed enough, but they are not overly excited at all. I'm quite happy with such a calm and rolled off sound, as listening to the H1 never caused any fatigue, regardless of how long I was using them, but some of you might want a bit more energy at the top. The buds can go quite loud, which might be good news for the volume junkies, but I don't recommend using them at full volume. Instrument separation and imaging is first class. Soundstage, however, is not the widest, which is probably the result of the buds sitting deep inside my ears. But at the end of the day, the sound of the H1 is pleasingly powerful, and most genres will sound great through these buds. But can it get any better for the money? Since I mentioned the Soundcore Life P3 and the Earfun Air Pro as competitors earlier, let me quickly compare those two buds to the Soundpeats H1. With the Life P3 you get a similarly bass-heavy sound, a smooth treble and a somewhat shy mid-range, but Soundcore has an app with custom EQ settings, which can really make a difference in how your buds will sound. However, separation, imaging and soundstage are all better on the Soundpeats H1, and these attributes of sound can be hard to improve using any EQ. Of course, the Life P3 have ANC too, which the H1 cannot offer, but the better passive isolation on the H1 can soften that blow a little. And the Soundpeats buds win in terms of battery life, controls, connection and codecs as well, but I personally found the Life P3 more comfortable to wear in the long run. Onto the Earfun Air Pro, basically the same can be said about the battery life, the controls and the codecs, as the Soundpeats H1 are better from all three aspects. The sound of the Air Pro is a bit more forward and more energetic in the mids and especially in the higher registers, so if that's something you like, then you will have to opt for the Earfun, as neither of the two buds have app support, nor they offer any EQ settings. I personally prefer the sound of the H1, but that's just me, and of course you can always use third-party EQ solutions. The one big advantage of the Earfun Air Pro is the active noise cancellation, so that's something you have to decide yourself whether you need such feature or not. And to wrap this all up, I have to say that even though the Soundpeats H1 might lack some extra features, they can deliver all the basics at the highest level in this price range. Battery life is excellent, touch controls work great, the sound is punchy, smooth and precise, connection is solid, phone call quality is good, and we get a better than average passive noise isolation and a tight enough fit. So if that's all you need from a pair of earbuds for around $100, then the Soundpeats H1 must be somewhere near the top of your shopping list. If you need active noise cancellation and app support, however, then you will have to look somewhere else. And this was my review of the Soundpeats H1 earbuds. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your questions and comments are welcome as always, so if you have anything to say or ask about the buds, we can continue the discussion in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, see you next time.